Welcome to Lucid Dreaming and the Cube of Space with the Alchemical Cabala. This past week, we've been traveling along the current of Ayin, which is the eye in Hebrew. This is the below western current on the cube of space right here. And it travels on the under or the below side, the subconscious elements of the cube from north to south. So now that we've traveled through this current, there is a divergence. There are two options available to us. Can someone please just state what those options now are?
The moon in transition.
Thank you. Yes, Mariah, excellent. So these are the options. We could stay in the subconscious below and travel along the moon current, or we can ascend back to the above, the self-conscious, via the transition key. That's it. On the outer edges, that's our options. It's good to memorize these because the more we wake up within this underworld or the below, the subconscious, if you will, the more we can start to recognize these patterns of intelligence and occurrence for us. And we see it in the outer world also, as above, so below. So, given that just 3 days ago we had a full blood moon eclipse, it seems fitting that we will stay here in the below current and follow the moon at this point. So the first thing about the moon key and the major arcana that I would like to point out to you is that this key shows more of the path than any other key in the major arcana. Its Hebrew letter is called Kof, which in Hebrew means back of the head. It's back here. Now, Kof, if you look here, corresponds as at the back of the head to this region, the medulla oblongata and the cerebellum. The cerebellum, I believe, is Latin, like a lot of these uh, words in medicine, and it means little brain. And it's at the very top of the brain stem, which we all know these are the most primitive aspects of our neurological makeup, our physiological organism that we inhabit. The cerebellum here is said to control and coordinate voluntary movements. It helps us assist us to improve our motor skills through repetition and balance, like walking. It contributes to spatial awareness and interestingly corresponds with our sense of timing and rhythm. The cerebellum, again, is much more primitive than our cerebral cortex, which is what we mostly think of as the brain. As far as we currently know, the cerebellum predates the evolution of the cerebral cortex by at least hundreds of millions of years. So this is a very, very old part of our anatomy. In the Sefer Yetzirah, it's called the corporal intelligence, Kof. And it has to do with the intelligence that organizes bodies, the vehicles and the bodies that we inhabit as spiritual beings. Every moment, all our life, countless chemical actions and reactions are occurring within our vehicles, of which we are almost completely clueless. Thank goodness. And these are occurring at the subconscious level of the mind. And hence we have the moon key at the subconscious level of the cube of space. Now, it's worth contemplating and definitely worth noting that the moon is both, it's the foundation for both the cube of space and the tree of life. The foundation. So this key, the moon key, is very intimately connected with this course's aim for us to wake up in our dreams. Kof is associated with the function of sleep in the physical organism and in consciousness. When we wake up our self-conscious mind and our dreams, again, we're merging the self-conscious and the subconscious into a unity. And we're waking up more and more. Sometimes it's associated with this key, the quote from Job 33:15. Very simple quote. It says, "The night brings counsel." It's very often through our dreams we receive our guidance from the higher aspects of our being and those further along the path that are always assisting us in the way to go. This intelligence and this key is like an interface, and the cerebellum is like this as well. It's like an interface for us between our waking life and the vital astral life and vehicles that we have within. Our vital astral form is like this clear light matrix, and it is the space within which the materials of the four elements of the physical world fill in what in the East they call the food body. We generally call it our flesh body. If sometimes if you have out of body experiences, you'll see your astral body, and it looks like you're just looking at an X-ray of your physical form. Just this clear, translucent like light body. But these are finer bodies. And part of the path is that we are evolving to function more consciously within them. Okay. So take a few breaths, focus, and I want you to kind of place yourself, put yourself into this key, wherever seems appropriate for you, anywhere. When you're ready, just unmute yourself and please share what occurs to you in this week's key, the moon.
Just a quick note on the scarab beetle that's on the path and how the the way that it's holding up the little soul, right? The solar disc right there. It just, I don't know, it kind of makes me think of like offering a sacrifice, or offering up, because I'm thinking of, the moon and the sun and all that, and just that little that disc there, and just the way it's, like I said, holding it up, it just looks like an offering of sorts, or so I mean, sacrifice, offering, giving, sharing, whatever, thing along that line. But yeah, that's all.
Cool. Thank you. You guys just go with.
I was just going to say, I'm the crayfish coming up out of the water, the mind up onto the path, and I'm following that symbol of God up the path. And the dog and the wolf are howling at the moon because they know, this is the way. And yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
The purple's really beautiful.
Yeah. I think, did he drop off? His wife just got home.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
here.
there?
Oh, I thought you dropped off. Oh, I didn't want to go on too much, but that was just what I saw in the beginning of this. Just coming up out of the mind, the blue, the water, the mind up the path,
Yep.
following God, and the dogs are very very aware of the power of the moon and the draw of the moon,
Yeah.
and just kind of bringing you on. Come on.
Right. So this is a good question, the good observation, Rachel. So coming up out of the mind, what aspect do you think this is on the tree then? Or the
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm talking about you said the water was like the mind here.
Right. So, I mean, I see where the card is coming up on the right side from Malkuth up to the green. I'm just trying to think. What is that called there? Somebody can help me. The green.
Desire, victory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And remember
The
the
green.
simplest way
Mhm.
the simplest way to look at the figures is to look at see what colors. What color is the crawfish, the crayfish here?
Purple.
Which is the color of what sphere on the tree?
The moon.
Yes, perfect. So what you see is consciousness is evolving. You're absolutely correct. This is in the mind. And it's evolving specifically coming up, rising from the depths of the subconscious, the foundation. And you saw it, the moon, which
Mm-hmm.
is also the foundation again for the cube of space.
Right. Oh, and right through that, all that green is all through the love of it all, the love of that progression, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, you see the purple mountain in the back, which would be attainment, but I didn't want to do back there and stuff. I just wanted to say what I saw right in the front.
No, excellent. Excellent.
You have two animals, the dog and the wolf. And the wolf is natural, and the dog has been changed by mankind and created. So if you go in the forest, there are certain kinds of wolves, but if you go into humanity, there are all different kinds of breeds of dogs, which we have manipulated breeding according to our taste. So you have this transformation that has taken place from the way humans think in a species, the dog, which has been hanging around our fireplaces since for eons and our companion, and then we proceeded to start changing it around as we do with most things. And so it's a sign of us changing. Also, we are evolving. So this is a card of evolution, evolutionary change, because it's stated with the two animals, one wild and one created.
And you have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And then you have at the edge of knowing, you have the two towers. And so they stand as sentinels, but they appear to be gates. So they're not just forbidding, but they're also gates to the unknown, to most people.
And
Good. Go ahead, Rachel. You first.
I just wanted to say the crayfish and the scarab are very ancient, probably prehistoric type of crustaceans. I mean, they've been around a long time too.
Yes.
Yeah, the scarabs were venerated by the Egyptians, and they pushed the sun we see here, but the scarab would push his dung along the earth, and then that would be like for future generations of beetles.
Yes, exactly.
Live
And of
on.
course, right. And there's an intimate connection between this key and the hermit because they both equal 9. And we know that the hermit is absorbing all of that solar power down in the lower intestines, right? It's turning that lead into gold.
Yeah. There's that, and especially with the hermit with that yod shape on the head. It's like, because it's funny. When I look at this card, all those yods, kind of just dotting the sky and surrounding. I think there's like what 18 there. And then with the hermit kind of coming into one, so that combination. But I just wanted to mention briefly, y'all, uh, something, Myra, you were saying, and then also Rachel that you were touching on too, of just kind of looking at the the crustacean that's coming out of the water, and the the fact that, I mean, the one thing that's just coming up was like I was thinking of the star key for a minute, like like half on land, half on water, like the crustaceans, similar deal of like, I mean, just from the two-dimensional sense, right? I'm just looking at it like, oh, half of it's the top half is on the land, and then it's like kind of coming out of the water. But I guess where I was going with that, with the whole coming out of the water part, it's just levitating, crawling out, and as seen dotted on the shoreline are all those gray rocks, and so the gray and the rocks being that of what I was interpreting as of wisdom, and so it's kind of just imagine like as it's kind of crawling out, and some of the rocks are big, some are small, some are all that, and it's kind of crawling out to that in the idea of wisdom, and then further along down as the demarcation, those two towers there, those well organized, well structured, built towers, all gray with again more of just think of the wisdom again, but because with regards to like the towers, kind of just even the path of like this kind of it's almost like disorganized to organized, right? That sense of of that, but more of just that that path. It's kind of this journey of just inability to articulate, kind of stumbling across random things that help, one along their journey and this. And after a while, it starts to become a more waterfall's path is more focused and a little bit more of a desire per se to seek out this wisdom. And then as one keeps going down, the towers which are there and the gray is not there, but there is that point of attainment. It's just kind of going down that path. So I don't know. Just I mean, whenever I see this card, I always think of evolution. Like that's just kind of
Mhm.
the deal. And so all these little things and just are there. But yeah, that's all. Just want to share that.
And all that brown is Melkuth, the world. So it's good that path is drawing you through the world, the plane of the physical and all that we experience.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I was gonna say the dog and the wolf and the purple guy kind of are all just taking notice. Like those parts of ourself are just kind of taking notice or kind of in awe or in wonder, where the little scarab guy is the one who's really like the simplest, tiniest piece, is the one taking action to get on the path and go.
Yeah, that was what I noticed as well. Because I imagined myself being that scarab carrying this treasure on my head. And it just, as soon as I imagined my hands up there, I thought, yeah, I just got to keep walking on this path. It's really important to carry this treasure that came out of the water, past those towers. And I imagined those yods coming down and they're red. It felt like this is going to feed the treasure somehow. It felt important, like I had to get it to the yods.
Interesting. Okay.
Something I
Sometimes
wanted to go ahead.
Go
The
ahead.
towers are like the edge of what we know. The two
Yes.
towers. So it makes you think of in Europe and other places where they have all these castles, and you would have everything that's known, and then if you were going to be attacked, everybody'd run to the castle and hide out in there. So that's the known world, and the marauders would be coming over the hills from some strange place. So it's designating that beyond them is the unknown and what we're moving toward, which is the non-physical. So we're moving into a more spiritual knowledge. And the crustacean is the skeletal structures on the outside, and the flesh is on the inside. And then we move forward to the animal, two dogs, or to one dog, one wolf, where the skeletal structures on the inside. And then we have the little beetle, where again it's on the outside. And yet we have to get past the towers.
And
And
we're
that's
going
what we did.
between the two extremes, right? We're not
The yellow,
we're not totally domesticated and we're not totally wild. We go right, we thread that line. However, that occurs to us.
I wanted to share something. I like the being in the moon above. It's yellow, so it's a solar being. We can think of it in a way looking through the moon. And the eye, the single eye, is focused onto the ripples, where the ripples are, where the crustaceans coming out of the water. The attention is through the moon, making the unconscious conscious through a regenerative process. And it's using the two opposing forces, as you see here, with the order, favoring order, looking towards the left more so, favoring order. And the path goes just left of the peak, meaning this is an evolutionary process. It's not a instantaneous sort of reality that this key is speaking to. This key is speaking to the evolutionary or the organizing, like you pointed out earlier. what kind of got me along that line is seeing that the 1 and the 8 form the caduceus, or the dual serpents on the rod, which is a regenerative symbol. And so it kind of ties into the spine. And let's kind of go on forever with this one right now.
Okay.
But it's was that making any amount of sense, or was
Yeah,
I going
no,
off?
makes a
Makes
lot of
sense.
sense.
Okay,
Yes, making a lot of
good.
sense.
The,
I want to go ahead.
the moon reflects the sun. So that's where it gets its light from. And you're going from cold-blooded animals to warm-blooded animals. So there again, is progression and all that kind of stuff.
So is
So
the progression along the path? Because what kind of comes up for me is like, what is it about us going past that unknown curve that Margot keeps bringing up? Like, what is it that prevents us maybe from going past that? Like, we're not seeing anything going past it just yet.
what do you say?
I say there's something there.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. I like where you're going with that, because that's really the question in this whole key, isn't it? What do you think it is?
Fear,
Fear?
the
Which
unknown.
we just left the key of the deceiver, which is the guardian on the threshold, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes you can regard this boundary as the threshold between what, like Margot said, the known and the unknown.
Can I can I make an observation? Because I keep looking at this card and I keep seeing the Wizard of Oz, follow the yellow brick road. And maybe that's where the movie came from, this card. But those three can also represent, the courage and having a heart and brains, and we meet parts of ourselves on our journeys. We were just talking about fear, and that's the whole courage, and how this, we are on this path, on this yellow brick road, to try to, we really, at the end of the path, we discover that everything that we need is within ourselves and not outside of ourselves. And it's a long it's a long yellow road.
Yes. Has everyone seen the movie Defending Your Life? Have you seen it?
Yes, love
If
that.
you haven't seen it, you absolutely must watch it. It's great. But so the guy goes through transition, him and Meryl Streep, they go through
Oh, yeah.
transition, and they have their afterlife review, and they have like agents, right, who are helping them through the process. And what's that guy's name? Is it Rip something?
Rip
Mel
Torn?
Brooks.
What's his name?
Mel Brooks?
No, it's not Mel Brooks. The
You
guy
said
who
Rip Torn? Rip?
I
No.
want to say Rip Torn, but is that his name? I thought.
No,
Anyway, so
I'll let you know.
there's a part in it. Let me see. The guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Here it
Rip
is.
Torn. Yeah, he's a great actor. But yeah, 1991, Defending Your Life. Albert Brooks, Meryl Streep, Rip
Yes,
Torn.
Albert Brooks.
Albert, that's it.
That's it. Albert Brooks. And his like assigned helper, right? He starts talking to him, and of course these people are further along the path spiritually. And and he's talking about all the things he did in life or didn't do. And basically, for like so many people, it's like when he asked him why he did or didn't do something, the answer was fear. He was afraid of this or that. And he just laughed. He said, "That's what little brains do. They fear." And then he's like, "That's what we call you when you guys aren't around, little brains." But I find that funny because the cerebellum associated with this, it means literally little brain, right? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Can I add something about looking at the path coming from the mountain rather than going to it? So you're coming down from the left side of the triangle at the top. So that would be understanding, the feminine side. So all manifestation is coming from that side, and we're returning up that side, and then we'll move on from there, like go around. But our first steps are the point of full manifestation from the Trinity is the other seven, circles, Sephiroth. So now when we go back the same way. Understanding is huge. It's before wisdom if we're going in that direction. But it's also, think of yourself being up there at the top of the path and seeing what needed to be done.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Mariah. Okay, so that's a perfect segue. We're gonna move forwards. Always my
Okay. I will say
overachievers.
nothing more.
Always my overachievers. No, that's an excellent,
Oh dear.
excellent point. All right, we got pressed for time, so we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your excellent insights and light. So remember, recommit yourself to wake up within your dreams. Do it daily, daily. Say, this is a dream. Train your mind. Train these animal aspects of your consciousness to do this so that you do it in your sleep. Now, I want you to just imagine what it would be like for you to become self-conscious within your dreams anytime you chose to. Like if any night you went to sleep and said, okay, tonight I'm for whatever reason, whatever you're up to, whatever work you're doing, etc. Tonight I'm going to be conscious in my dreams, and it be so. Just sit with that for a moment and just see or receive what comes to you by imagining this as an ability that you have now. Whatever comes to you, make a note of it. And just observe it. Okay. What is coming to you, whether you're conscious of it yet or not, is coming from a much deeper place. Right. So on the moon key, again, we're shown more of the path than any other key in the major arcana. If we look closely at it, we can see if we count them, there's one segment, it undulates up and down, right? But progressively goes higher. So that it's said that our valleys eventually become lower than our previous peaks as we ascend. So if we see the parts we can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a tiny little section right there, 5 and 6. 6 sections there, which points to where we might be headed here, right? Number 6, Sephiroth. And we see a hint by the solar logo symbol here with the scarab. And we're rising into the unknown. Now, once you take some deep breaths and really, really allow yourself to just gently float within to this point, close your eyes and see yourself now as the hermit on the top of this mountain peak. Really holding that light out, holding that staff. Just feel what that feels like. And you're getting assistance, and you're assisting the moon in lighting the path or the way. Relaxed with your eyes closed, really get a sense for the solidity and feel yourself at that position, looking down the path, looking down, and eventually you see your own person as you are now, sitting exactly where you are in what seems to be the external world. Keeping your eyes closed, see that path illuminated from that higher aspect of yourself to yourself as you're sitting here. And in your knowing, make a connection right now between where you are as the hermit and right here, right now. You should be able to feel when you've made that connection. Just hold that vision and feeling for a few moments and a few deep breaths. Staying with that feeling. Okay, good job. Relax when you're ready. Just open your eyes again. And here is our letter, Kof. You may use this or alternate this with your core practice this week. If you do, really give this your full attention before you go to sleep so it imprints on the back of your retinal fields. So when you close your eyes, it just floats there in your vision. This is the letter Kof over the tattva of water, the crescent. The moon key in the zodiac is the sign of Pisces, the intelligence of Pisces, which rules the feet, which is perfect for the path. Remember, where we aim is where we end up going with our intention. When you merge your practice of attention and pure intention, you are making a path and deep patterns in the subconscious mind. So double down on waking up in your dreams. Imagine yourself as having done so, and ask your higher self to help you to remember to wake up. Wake up in your dreams this week as you meditate each night on the moon key. Remember, it's not when, but it's not if, it's when. You find yourself awake in your dreams. Remember to state the number 9 statement on the pattern on the trestle board and see what happens. Again, it's not if, but when you succeed in this. Intention, attention. Intention, attention. Thank you all for your light and participation. Blessings to us all on the path this week and throughout our life. This concludes this portion, lesson of Koth, lucid dreaming with the alchemical Cabala and the cube of space. Thank you all. The floor is now open. Any questions or comments?